Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent. We are a spiritual community that seeks to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. I am Heidi Sumser, this morning's worship associate. I am joined in welcome you by Mike Havanasek, who's leading the service. We extend a special welcome to our visitors. Thank you for worshiping with us this morning. For our visitors on Zoom, if you'd like to know more about our church and be in contact with us, there will be a contact link in the chat box at the end of the service. For our visitors here in person, green visitor cards are available. You are welcome to fill out a card and drop it in the offering basket. If you're here in person this morning and have a joy or sorrow to be shared during the service, please fill out a yellow card and give it to an usher or bring it up. If you're on Zoom, you will be invited to share your joy or sorrow using the chat box. It takes a village to put these services together each week. Thank you to our tech team and all the wonderful people who are contributing to this morning's service. Your time and talents are greatly appreciated. Now let us take a moment to breathe, to enter into this time of community once again, and invite the Spirit to be present among us. In the yard of my childhood home, there was a tree that I loved to climb. It was my favorite tree because not only was it very tall, but getting up into it was a challenge that my little brother was never able to master. I had to jump up and grab a V-shaped branch just barely out of reach over my head. And then with each hand on each side of the V, I would walk my feet up the trunk to gain the height and leverage I needed to pull my body up and through this V-neck, this V-shaped branch. Once in the tree, it was easy to climb the spoke-like branches as high as I desired. The neighbor behind our house told my parents once that seeing me up there with the top swaying in the wind made him nervous. But me, I never felt unsafe in my tree. I would sit in my tree for hours, pretending it was a spaceship or a towering fortress. I took my dolls and stuffed animals up there, securing blankets between the branches to create a cradle. I wrote stories in my head that I would later write down. And sometimes I just sat as high as I was brave enough to go, reveling in the exhilaration of having a bird's-eye view of my neighborhood, my entire world. It was as close to flying as I could get. I don't remember the last time I climbed my tree, but it must have been sometime in my teens when hanging out with girlfriends outweighed my tomboyish tendencies. Every once in a while, I think about trying to climb a tree in my wooded yard, but I'm not sure I have the strength, and I've probably lost a lot of the fearlessness I had in my younger years. But still, I think about and sometimes dream about how it felt to experience the magic and freedom of that private place I claimed as my own. What magical memory from your childhood do you still hang on to? Come explore the magic of childhood with us this morning. Now, rise as you're willing and able and join me in singing our opening hymn, number 338, I Seek the Spirit of a Child. As Justin and Morgan lights our chalice, I invite you to create or rediscover a place of magic and hope here this morning as I share these words from the poem Invitation by Shel Silverstein. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in.
Its temple, all space, its stool. I'm sorry. I got it. I have a special book to read to you today. And if you'd like to come a little bit closer, I see a couple of shorter people in the back there. Shorter people, excuse me. As a short person, I feel like I can say that. Good morning. I have a special book. Would you like to read it with me? Okay. This book is called My Moon, and it was written by someone you may know by the name of Mike Hovansik. And the illustrations are by Dex Westfall. And there's a special dedication on the back to a very special little person. The dedication is for Katie Hovansik, Christmas 2018. The story is My Moon. Katie and Benny and their parents were busy running a long string of errands on a warm summer day. After several stops, the sky grew dark and weather turned cool. As they were getting out of the car, Katie looked up at the sky. "I'm looking for my moon, but he is hiding in his trees," she said. The whole family scanned the sky, but all they could see was darkness. They continued their errands. "When you were a newborn, your brother used to catch fireflies to light your bedroom at night," Daddy said. "Do you remember that, Benny?" Do you remember that, Benny? "Oh, yes," Benny said. "Do you remember the fireflies, Katie?" her father asked. "I'm not talking now," Katie said. "I'm looking for my moon." The family got back into their minivan and lumbered off to an ice cream stand. Yay! It's a pretty cool looking ice cream stand, isn't it? I want to go there. As Daddy took her out of the van, she looked up in the sky and exclaimed, "My moon!" "There you are, Moon." "See," Mommy said, "the moon was waiting for you here at the ice cream stand." "Hello, Moon," Katie said fondly. The family ordered their ice cream and sat down on their favorite bench by the water fountain. Mommy ate her salty caramel ice cream. Good call, Stephanie. Daddy ate his chocolate almond ice cream, and Benny ate an ice cream flavor called Garbage Pail. Katie was too small to handle her own ice cream cone, so she walked back and forth between the members of her family with her mouth open like a baby bird, waiting for a bite. She got more ice cream than anyone that way. Nice work. After enjoying ice cream, Benny and Katie and their parents got back into their minivan and headed home. And as they were getting out of the van, Katie looked up into the sky. "My moon," she exclaimed. And look, the cats are looking at it too. "See," her daddy said, "your moon followed you home." That's a really nice moon. Looks like a nice guy. "Thank you, Moon," Katie said as she walked sleepily into the house. And some nice photos at the end here. I love it. Wonder if you were talking to the moon in this picture. The end. What a lovely story of being together as a family and being guided by the voice of a young one, right? So now we will sing our children out to their classes, If you'd like to come to RE today, we'll be learning about India and Bali with Alicia. So let's sing our children on out.
You've got the light of love inside you. Go on your way in peace. So shine that light, the whole world now awaits you. Go on your way in peace. You've got the light of love inside you. Go on your way in peace. So shine that light, the whole world now awaits you. Go on your way in peace. You know we hold you. We hold you. Yes, we hold you.
Each week, we create a time of shared stillness for prayer, reflection, gratitude, meditation, or simply being in order to remember who we truly are, reflect on life, and reconnect with the sacred mystery that is the very heart of life itself. Let's enter into stillness for a moment. In the spirit of being a community of compassion and care, we take time each week to share the sorrows, struggles, and losses that are in our hearts right now. If you are on Zoom and have a sorrow, loss, or struggle to share, please use the chat box. We have also experienced moments of joy or celebration this week. Again, if you are on Zoom, share your joys in the chat box. Liz Murray shares that she got married on Tuesday, her 3-year anniversary. Okay. Lee Brooker shares that his mom, Marie, turned a healthy 80 years old on Thursday. Okay. With gratitude for these and every blessing we receive in life, for the gift of life itself, for the companionship of one another on life's mysterious and often bumpy journey, for the hope and possibilities we discover together, we say amen and blessed be.
there's no more room up there. Will you make us laugh? Will you make us cry? Will you tell us when to live? Will you tell us when to die? I know we've come a long way. We're changing day to day. But tell me, where do the children play?
I Wish for You by Alicia Bayer. I wish for you dirt under fingernails in spring, a cool creek to wade in, a window to watch birds, a generous neighbor with a fruit tree, good breezes on hot days, a well-worn path in the woods, and that you take the time to love them all.
Now rise as you are willing and able, and join in singing the hymn of affirmation, number 117, O Light of Life, verses 1 through 3. So.
O light of life that lives in us, help us to turn away from war. Reveal the hate that lives in us, help us to live no more in fear. Save us, save our children. O light of love, rain down on us, help us to heal our wounded world. Our dying forests, gutted plains, smoldering cities, wasted fields. Save us, save our children. O love of life that lives in me, help me to lift my head and sing. Let me know joy as well as pain, see beauty in the rain and wind. Save me, save my children.
Good morning, friends. Today we're talking about the magic of childhood. And I thought I'd dredge up some of my own childhood memories as a reference point. But to be honest, I was born in the 1900s. So, a lot of that memory's gone. It's sort of a blur of Kool-Aid and raw hot dogs, most of it. But I do remember the play. One of the things I remember was my friend Eric and I built a tree house in the woods behind my house. That tree house brought us so much joy and so many injuries. We built it by gathering up a bunch of scrap lumber that we found in like garages and sheds around town. And it was, it was a mismatched collection of wood in all varying degrees of condition. And we had no construction skills of any kind. So the treehouse we built was as rickety and misshapen as one of those houses in a Dr. Seuss book. We built the basic treehouse, and then we started building a bunch of platforms that each one extended beyond the reach of the original structure, and each one higher than the last. By the end, we had several stories of sagging, teetering lumber tacked together by large clusters of bent nails. The higher we got, the more questionable our choices of wood were. We used all the good stuff in the beginning. And by the end, we had a platform that was made entirely of small pieces of wood that were completely rotten. Being on top of it was like being on the roof of a 3-story building. This was a structure that was held together entirely by faith and ignorance. One day, Eric and I were inspecting our platform when we heard a sickening cracking sound, and the floor gave way underneath us. Eric spun around and grabbed hold of a tree, and I had to dive the full length of the platform and ended up holding onto his ankle. Well, we watched as our childhood dreams smashed into a splintery pile of nail-filled wreckage several stories below, and we gazed in awe for a moment at our near-death experience before climbing down. This became one in a long list of experiences Eric and I had that we agreed not to tell our parents about. Another fond memory was Eric's father had this contraption called the fogger, and it was a canister that had a long pipe coming out the back of it. And his father would pour this concoction of insecticides into the canister, and then he'd fire up the engine on it, and in no time at all, these big clouds of billowy, foul-smelling white smoke would come out. And then he'd walk along the field behind their house with this cloud billowing behind him, killing off all the insects. So Eric and I and some of the other neighborhood kids just thought this was magical. So we'd walk through the cloud, follow him along, and it was a lot like, those scenes in Hollywood films where they're in heaven and they're just billowy clouds and that's all you can see. It was like that. And maybe that's ominous foreshadowing as well, to be walking in toxins and imagining heaven. So we would walk along joyfully, laughing and joking in that cloud, hallucinating a bit. These are fond memories I'm telling you about. But my childhood wasn't all shoddy construction and carcinogenic clouds of fog. We also played with those commercially produced toys. One of the big companies back then was called Wham-O, with an exclamation point at the end, Wham-O, which made sense. It was a good name because their toys were known to hurt people. I always thought Wham-O was like the sound you hear right before you black out. One of the toys they made was called a slip and slide. Yeah, I'm seeing recognition out there. If you recognize the name of that, you may be due for a colonoscopy. Public service announcement for you. So the slip and slide was a piece of plastic attached to a hose. You put it on the ground and you slam yourself on the ground and hopefully you slide. This was an excellent toy for people who wanted knee and hip replacement surgeries later in life. And Wham-O also made it something called jarts, right? It was like a normal dart, but these were tactical darts. These were like this big, good size, and they had a metal tip. They were weighted, And there was probably some proper way to play with them, but generally what all the kids I knew did was threw it in the air and then you wait to see who's going to survive. This was sort of like a Russian roulette. I imagine that JARTS was sort of a source of job security for a lot of emergency room staff during the 1970s. That's the kind of toys Wham-O made, and I wouldn't have been surprised if they came out with a running with scissors game or something. Those toys have all since been litigated out of existence. Probably the people who designed them are now working for the Defense Department. I can imagine surrounding an enemy encampment with slip and slides and then pelting them with JARTS. But in all honesty, none of the toys I played with would certainly, they would violate the terms of the Geneva Convention. So childhood is kind of magical and special, even the dysfunctional parts. And religions around the world and throughout history recognize the importance of childhood. One of my favorite examples of this is in Buddhism. There's a concept called new mind. And it's the idea that children come to the world with curiosity and enthusiasm, a sense of awe. And as adults, we start to lose that. Maybe we almost completely lose it by adulthood. And the goal is to try to get back there. One example that I experienced was when Benny was about 3 or 4 years old. I was walking home from work, and he ran up to me with a leaf in his hand, and he said, "Look, a red leaf." And I said, "Well, let's see." And I looked at it, and it had this beautiful shade. It was a deep, rich shade of red. And it had this fantastic cellular structure throughout, and this beautiful vein pattern. And it occurred to me, how many thousand equally spectacular leaves did I walk over and not notice before this moment? I realized I need to strive to get more into that new mind state. Another way I describe the new mind concept is, you're only young once, but you can be immature forever. Religions around the world also recognize the sacred role of caretaking children, protecting them. UU Church is great about that. One example is our RE program. It's fantastic. It helps support the values that we bring here, helps the kids build bond and community with each other and engage in charitable acts. There also are the 8 principles of this faith that help to create a better world for those kids. Because childhood, these are the formative years. And you might wonder, what are we forming exactly? We're forming our cognitive system, our system for making sense of things and how to navigate them and thrive within them. This is an awesome thing, because then these lessons learned from childhood are on autopilot, shaping our perceptions and our behaviors in the here and now. But the problem is, if something, like a trauma or neglect, abuse is occurring while you're forming that system, what kind of system are you developing? Fear-based, somebody who isolates, somebody who's desperately wanting attention. So when dysfunction happens in those formative years, it casts a long shadow on a person's life. People say kids are resilient. I remember as a kid, actually, I was looking through a Life magazine, and there was a picture of children playing gleefully in a bombed-out building during World War II, and the caption said something about, the amazing resilience of children. The reality is that children do not know how to process what they're going through. So they can be traumatized and be joyfully playing. This is why I'm a therapist. This is why so many of my adult clients are coming in to talk about childhood things. And children are at risk these days. There have been significant cuts in educational funding that affect children in poverty and children with special needs. Kids today are growing up in the shadow of COVID, active shooter drills, other fear-based messages from our society. They're growing up in a damaged environment that they did not create, but that they are inheriting. You know what the number one cause of death is in children? Gunshots, firearms. Because freedom. Then there's the immigration policy that is running across our country right now. I was originally going to put together a slideshow of pictures of children being separated by their parents in the current immigration policies, but it was so disturbing, it was keeping me up at night, and I decided not to inflict that on you. The politicians who are behind this tout themselves as devout Christians. So, for example, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, when asked about a variety of his positions on things, said, "Well, go pick up a Bible off your shelf and read it. That's my worldview. That's what I believe, and so I make no apologies for it." So let's pick up the Bible, as he suggests. Leviticus 19:34. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself. In fact, the main narrative of the New Testament is that an immigrant comes and helps underserved communities until he's prosecuted without legitimate due process. Seems kind of familiar. And then war disproportionately affects children. In the current genocide Israel's perpetuating against Palestine, 50,000 children have been wounded or killed. Many more have been starved. This creates a long-term impact, not just for the horrible moments, but for how they damage somebody's physical and psychological health going on in life. And this is being paid for with our tax money. When you hear about horrible atrocities in other countries, some people revert to the America First mentality. It's not in our country. We don't need to worry about it. I would counter that with this quote from Martin Luther King, Jr. An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. But we can resist. In fact, our 8 principles are sort of a blueprint of how to do that, because we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We believe in social justice and democracy. We can be knowledgeable, we can vote in an informed way, we can protest, we can even just be kind to the young people in our lives. One thing I've heard people do is you call up your local school and you find out what kids have lunch debt. You pay off all the lunch debts. We don't have to reinvent the wheel either. There are some support organizations that are out there, and you'll see them. There should be a slide here on them, and they're also in your order of service. One of them is CASA, which is the court-appointed special advocates. They help children navigate the legal system when they're going through things like abuse and neglect investigations or foster care. But they also are significantly expanding in their area of helping children, immigrant children, when they're going through the traumas of what our government is doing to families right now. There are also, we can call our representatives. So I have those numbers on the slide as well. These are the representatives if you're in the 44240 zip code. If you're not, you can search by zip code. If you just do a Google search on who is my representative, and then you enter your zip code, you'll find that. They are there to listen to you. I've been calling these, and they are very receptive, and they get back to you even. Now, it's very possible that as I say this, that you're all thinking, but we voted, we're informed, we're protesting, we're doing these things, and look where we are. But meaningful change doesn't happen quickly. It happens with persistence. And we have some models out there already. In Brazil, they had a leader very much like the leadership we have now. Tried to run like a dictator. He tried to overthrow a free and fair election, and he's being tried and will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. And in Ukraine, they had an oligarchy that ran roughshod over the people. And they made a law. They outlawed oligarchy. There are models out there. There are success stories that are specifically addressing the very things that we're dealing with today. There's also hope because so many of the policies that we're hearing, these draconian, horrific things, are being challenged in the court, and many, the majority, are being overturned by the courts. The current immigration policies have a very low approval rating. 62% of Americans disagree. 78% of Americans approve offering a pathway to citizenship. It's hard to get 78% of Americans to agree to anything. And only 23% of Americans support our funding of the military actions in Israel. And in fact, the majority of Israelis don't agree with it. This tells us there is a groundswell of people pushing back, ready to make some change. That's when change is the most likely to happen. We've never seen more support for liberal policies like universal health care or making the rich pay their fair share in taxes. We could be seeing the first meaningful change in decades. Let's nurture this change together. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. May it be so, and amen.
Our spiritual community thrives in its shared life of worship, community, and ministry as each of us participates in the circle of giving and receiving. This is possible due to your generous gift of money, time, and care for each other, and the recognition that we are all connected. Thank you. To help others in our community thrive, we also give to agencies and organizations in Kent and beyond that serve those in need. August's special offering will support World Central Kitchen, which provides nourishing meals to those suffering from humanitarian, climate, or community crises. In the spirit of gratitude for the gift of one another and this community, we now give and receive the offering.
There's a light inside of me, a light inside of me, and it's so bright I can barely see. There's a light inside of you, a light inside of you. In the dark light, I can still see through. And as you grow up, I promise to introduce the works of Carl Jung, Kurt Vonnegut, and Dr. Seuss. And as you grow up, promise to keep her home. Keeps you safe from life, sticks and stones. There's a light in every day, a light in every day. I hope I give you something good before mine fades away.
And now it's time to bring this service to a close. Please recite with me the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
The song was written by our member Katie Grigg Miller, and it's in our new Unitarian Universalist hymnal. And she's not here today to introduce it to you all, but she'll be here another time to sing it with you too. So this is by Katie Grigg Miller. It's going to be in our new UU hymnal. So I wanted to share it with you. You can rise in body or spirit. We'll sing this together. When the winds around you blow, take my hand. When the raging waters flow, I'll help you to land, and we'll go together into the great unknown. Shelter for each other, compassion as our home, and we'll be known by our love. We'll be known by our love. When you're fearful, when you're blue, don't despair. When the world gives up on you, I'll be there, and we'll go together into the great unknown. Shelter for each other, compassion as our own, and we'll be known by our love. We'll be known by our love. We'll be known. We'll be known by our love. We'll be known by our love.
This is a quote from the Select Panel for the Promotion of Child Health. Children make up 1/3 of our population and all of our future. Go in peace, go in power.